Hi, everybody. Welcome to the lounge on this lovely, lovely Friday evening. Our holiday season is underway. How are you guys enjoying this season? As you can see, we have our lovely twinkly lights in the background. You guys remember from the pandemic last year, we did a lot in this space with the twinkly lights in the background. So they are back, and I'm so excited about our guests tonight. You guys know when I get a little jazzed up, you know that there's going to be a good guest on, because I was a little tired today. It's been a long day. And as soon as I got online backstage with our guests tonight, and I had a little I usually have a pre-call with some of my guests before we start. And I am just so excited to bring this woman on, because the energy that she has to jazz everybody up and to talk about something that we haven't ever done on the show before, which is, we're always trying to say, how can we fix everybody else, right? How could we be in a relationship? And if we're not getting what we want, we're out of here, right? It's kind of like that culture of just discard, find somebody new, and move on, right? Or if somebody's not doing what we want them to do, we got to fix them and not change ourselves. So she has such an interesting, our guest, I'm not going to say she, such an interesting perspective and real life experience on how she turned her relationship around when she was ready to hightail it out of there because it was not fulfilling for her. She is an energy maverick, and I kind of think of Top Gun when I think of that, like energy maverick. It kind of gives me a sense like I'm in an airplane and I'm ready to like go back to the 80s and like getting on an Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark or something. I just feel like she takes you on a little journey energetically, and you guys will see from her energy that she did something a lot of us don't talk about. We talk about transformation individually, okay? We talk about how we can level up, how we could kind of change our vibration, how we could kind of transcend our cycles, right? We talk about that. And we talk about relationships and how we can have a more fulfilling relationship. And most people think that's all about like breaking our cycles or starting over. It's not taking something that's breaking down and figuring out how to fix it, right? So I don't know. You guys are in for a real treat tonight because this is one of my favorite topics. You guys know that Intuitive Radio's season 1 has launched. We're going on season 2. You know, this is one of my favorite topics, intuition and love. Okay, so let's say hello to some of you, and then without further ado, I mean, I just got to bring her on because we're going to get into some stuff. So, Linda, how you doing? Good to see you. Paula, you're here every week. Loyal viewer all throughout the last year and a half. We'd love to give you a gold star. Tim, good evening. How are you? Nice to see you always commenting. Screen is frozen. Hopefully not. Hi, Marissa. Ended up walking out today. Thank you for all the help, though. You walked out. I want to hear more about that. Give me a little more details. Ani M. How are you doing, Ani M? You were the winner of our last contest with our energy healer, Scott Clover. I hope you had a good time with him. That was awesome. So I want to know, you guys feeling, we have on December 3rd and 4th, We have all of this eclipse energy going on, all right? All of this solar stuff going on, all these solar flares. I mean, if you're not feeling like in the last 2 days, if you try to move energy forward and all you hear is no, 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 when things were moving forward before, it's just the energy. So I just want to tell you, you have to just flow with it. You have to go with it. And there are periods you're going to have to take for rest, for self-care. And you're just going to have to say, screw everybody else. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to lay down. But the problem is that your energy is making you think you can't do that because it's hard to relax in this energy as well. So that's a little bit difficult. But this will pass as of December 5th. And you'll have to tune into my weekly energy forecast. And then the monthly is going to be coming out on the 15th of the month. So if you guys are not on the email list, if you're not getting the weekly forecasts in your inbox, okay, I'm going to put a link on here to make sure you are getting them, okay? If you are not on the list, it is a private video. It's on a private server, the monthly forecast. It goes out every month on the 15th of the month. And if you don't get on the email list before the 15th of the month, you're not going to get it till the next month. So I go over every day of the month and how to make your key decisions in love, in business, in finance, in health, and relocation. What are the best days? Because when you're manifesting and you're in transformation, you got to take, it's like the weather forecast. You got to know when it's raining, snowing, sleeting, or having an earthquake, and you're not going to make decisions during that time, right? So it's better to have a meteorologist and it's better to have me to tell you what to do, okay? Because I know you all don't listen to me all the time anyway. I don't even listen to myself half the time. I have to go back. I'm like, what did I say about this weekend? Oh, I said that I basically did not listen to anything I said. So I have to get a calendar moving on with that. So anyway, are you guys ready to bring on Michelle Clark? She is going to, oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this. She told me a little portion of her story and I'm like, please, Michelle, save it because I want to have the shock value and have the excitement. I don't want to hear anymore. This is so exciting, so juicy. Love it. So let me tell you a little bit about our guests coming on tonight. All right, Michelle Clark. She is the owner, the CEO, the boss babe. I hate saying boss babe, but I'm going to say it anyway, of Empowerment Empires. She's an energy maverick. I've talked to you guys about that before. A mindset queen, a public speaker, an author. She's a business coach, empowering soul-led entrepreneurs to bring their gifts to the world while making more money and having more freedom. And that's the key, people. Okay, if you are intuitive, you're spiritually minded, you're in a holistic business, you can't be floating up on all over there. You have to have a business mindset. You have to be grounded because it's okay for you to receive. It's an energy of exchange, right? It's okay for you to charge for your services. You don't have to give everything away for free. You have to be grounded as well as up in the sky. And most of the people in our industry, little up in the sky, have no business sense. And this is where Michelle comes in to help people that are soul-led to do this. As a soul activator, and she's definitely activating energy, so she's like a firecracker, but it didn't come out yet backstage. I know it'll come out on the show. Michelle helps an audience to tap into their bravery, unlocks their inner knowing, empowers them up with inspiration by the bucket load. Okay, so if you ever went to those indoor water parks, that big bucket that's like 3 stories high just comes crashing down, and you're like, ah, that's Michelle. Okay, she's probably laughing at me backstage. Her secret sauce is unlocking people's potential, calling forth their life purpose, and encouraging them. So she's the chief energy maverick and Empowerment Empires and author of Woo Woo for Women in Business. And if obviously she's talking to me, I'm a medium intuitive. I am like the most woo woo out of the people she can talk to. That's woo woo. I'm who they say is woo woo around here. Let's give a warm welcome to Michelle Clark. How are you, Michelle?
Hi, I'm fantastic. Thank you very much.
It is so nice to finally talk to you in person and to bring you on for our guests because I got a dose of your energy and I want them to get a dose of your energy. So
I'm gonna get.
You know what? Screw it. Let's get out of the flare. We don't have to. I hyped you up enough, right? That's enough. So let's get out of the fluff and let's get right to it. So we know that you're you have all these all these titles that are wow, you do so much. You help women in business, you empower. You're that jack of all trades, but you master a lot of these trades as well. But really in love, you have a personal story that I think a lot of us could relate to. And a lot of people who are in your position would probably be going outside of the relationship to talk to a therapist or a coach or say, how do I change my partner? How do I make them be more attentive to me? How do I make them give me what I need? I'm not getting what I need. So I'm going to criticize and complain, and hopefully that'll make them give me what I need. And it just creates resentment and fighting. And then like, oh, you know what? This is a lost cause. And you're bringing up triggers from your dysfunctional family that you grew up in, and everything's being triggered all about. And you're thinking, I just can't do this anymore. And when it seems too hard, people give up. And you did not give up. So please tell us your story and how you kind of brought your training and from what you do as an empowerment coach into your personal life. Tell us your love story.
I wanted to give up. I was ready to. I was so ready to leave. And it honestly wasn't until I was absolutely 100% ready to leave that I was able to fix it. Same in business, right? It's not until you're absolutely 100% ready for the results that they'll come in for you. So it occurred to me that instead of leaving, that I should really be considering, when I can fix every other area in my life, why was I allowing myself to walk out of a marriage? Like, I've been married for over 20 years now. And at that point, I don't know how long we would have been married for. I don't know, maybe close to 15 years. And I just thought, this is just ridiculous. Like, I'm just repeating the patterns of my parents, and I'm walking away from something that feels clunky and heavy. And if I can't fix it, sure, I'm going to walk away from it. But have I actually given it my absolute best shot? And my answer was no. I tried everything that I thought would work, but I hadn't listened to what was in my soul. So I grow my business intuitively. And that's what I help other people to do as well. Like, feel into what's good and juicy and fun and grow your business from that place. But I wasn't doing it in my marriage. So I had to take a step back. I just had to look at myself and look at how I was perpetuating what was going on. I wasn't asking for what I wanted. I was expecting them to read my mind, and they can't, as much as I'd like to.
Right. And I think a lot of people too, a lot of clients that I see too, you would think that, you know, they weren't successful in other parts, but a lot of clients of mine are like beautiful, beautiful women, men, you know, beautiful, attractive, successful, wildly successful in their careers. And they're lovely. Like every time they come to me year after year, it's like the next relationship is more horrible than the next. They're like, what is wrong with me? Am I broken? You know, what's going on? And we try to talk, and they all know like, oh yeah, well, you know, my father was an alcoholic, or, you know, I was abandoned by my mom, or like there was a death here, whatever. And they know, but it doesn't really change the actual cycle or pattern. And so we kind of attract water, you know, what do they say? Water attracts like I can't think of the quote I'm looking for right now. Water attracts its own level. Water attracts its own level. So basically you can't attract really like so much healthier than you are, because you're not gonna be able to hold on to that. So
it's about self-worth, right? Like we accept behavior from outside of what we feel worthy on the inside. Like, quite often we're like, but my partner doesn't love me enough, or they don't do enough things for me, they don't show me enough affection. But are you actually showing affection to yourself?
right.
Like, how is someone supposed to give you what you can't give yourself?
And a lot of people miss that. They're not looking to themselves. They're looking for somebody else to fulfill that comfort, to fulfill that balance, to fulfill that nurturing, because there was an unmet need in childhood that they're still like, it's like a drought. It's like the rag is like crusty, and like that one drop of water feels so good. It's like, give me more of that. So did you kind of, you know, you're so successful in your business. How did you realize like you weren't applying that to your love life? And why do you think that you weren't applying it? What was the block?
I didn't feel worthy of the love. And I really bought into, you know, how like, if when we're overweight and we start losing a bit of weight, and then all of a sudden our business revenue starts going down, it's almost like we can't hold so much goodness at once. We're like, oh, it's all right if I'm beautiful and hot and sexy, but I better hadn't be successful in business at the same time. Or it's all right if I'm loved by all my friends and everyone thinks I'm adorable, but I also hadn't better look amazing at the same time. You know, like it's almost like we can take a bite of success, but we're not allowed to eat the whole apple. I don't know what it is, but we're made to feel guilty for having it all. But you can have it all. You should have it all. The universe wants you to have it all. So why do we hold ourselves back from it?
So why did you think you deserve to have success in business and not in love is the question, which is a lot of us do think that way. So it's not just you, but I'm wondering, why do you think that is?
It was my noggin. It was, you know, all the backstories. So my parents got divorced very early on. It was a whole wife swap situation. You can imagine how toxic that was.
A wife
Um,
swap situation. What is
right?
that? Like the
When,
show wife swap?
so my mum ran off with my dad's best friend,
Oh,
and then my
jeez.
dad married his best friend's ex-wife. It was interesting, to say the least.
I mean, was it a better selection, or I mean, did they work out better than they swap, or was it just like just as disastrous as it was, in
No,
the beginning?
my dad is still married to his best friend's ex-wife.
Oh
My
God.
mum, my mum stayed married to her husband for 18 years, but he cheated on her the whole time.
So he did
He's
to
got
her what she did to what he did to
yeah,
her, what he was doing to her all along. It just happened
exactly,
to her. Right.
exactly. And he's on to his sixth marriage now.
Sixth. Oh, geez. After three, you'd be like, okay, maybe I need to take a
That's
look at
enough.
this.
Maybe it's me after three. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, so you saw that in your early childhood, so you're like, okay, well, I guess people are kind of disposable. You could just kind of, you know, marriages aren't strong is probably what you saw.
And I saw my parents really not be very nice to each other. And so I
Mhm.
thought, that's what you got. Like, you just had to put up with what you had, and you stayed together for the kids. And I didn't believe that love could be juicy and delicious and wonderful.
You really didn't believe that? You must have believed it if you tried so hard. You must have believed deep down that like the magic existed if you worked for it at some level.
I knew that I loved him. Like, that was the thing that kept me there. But in the end, the love wasn't enough, because I was like, this is squashing me in every quadrant. And as I up leveled in my business and all the other parts of my life, it really shone a light on how shit the marriage had become. And I know that I'm going to upset some people in here by saying this, but just take it from a place of love, right? Like, I'm not saying it to upset anyone, but men sometimes, because they see so much value, because the world teaches them that they're valuable when they provide, when the woman starts providing more than the man, it can be a real, like a heart hitter for them, and they start behaving a little bit differently. Let's just say they would start behaving a little bit differently. And
Yeah.
every time I up level my business income, the same thing happens in my marriage, even now. And I just have to take him, and I'm like, babe, I love you because I love you. I don't give a shit how much money you make.
Mhm.
And some men just can't cope with that. I've been on a podcast before where a man said to me, "Oh, that's just bullshit. I don't believe you." And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to convince you. But yeah.
So, yeah, so what made I mean, you said you didn't feel like you deserved it deep down, deserved to receive the love. You were fine giving it. I'm sure you're fine giving and giving and giving, but not receiving. So were you in cycles of sabotage in your marriage? Like, did you go through certain like dances and dramas and cycles where
Yeah.
you had the same argument all the time over and over again?
Yep, completely. I would overgive in the hopes that I would get back what I was receiving. And it wasn't just in my marriage, I was doing it with friends and all sorts, probably
Right.
even business, like the way we do one thing is the way we do everything in life. And so I was overgiving in the hopes that they would recognize how juicy and delicious it felt to receive it, and then go, oh, I'll give it back to you. The world just doesn't
Right.
work like that.
So you're feeling so deprived at that point, and what made you say, "You know what? I gotta do something where I'm getting the gas tank filled up a little bit too." So how are you gonna get that from somebody when you're in a marriage and they're not giving equal amounts of receiving and giving? Like how does that shift? Because I'm sure a lot of people here have read a lot of books on that, have gone to therapy about that, marriage counseling. What is the trick?
I'm laughing because we've been to marriage counseling, and the counselor said to me, you should just leave.
Wow, in front of him?
Because he'd stormed out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You should just leave. I was like, oh, okay.
So
Um, so I got to a point where I couldn't take anymore. Because I was up leveling my own mindset, using my own tools of empowerment, I started to notice the cycles. And I was like, I don't want to be in this cycle anymore. I don't want to overgive. And then I get angry at him and I yell at him and tell him he's a useless C word or whatever. And,
Oh, God,
and
you gave it to him. That firecracker came
I
out. Yeah.
I can be the complete loving and then the complete opposite, right? Like, I am a person of extremes. There's no like really kind of like medium ground for me. It's one or the other. And so, but I recognized that I didn't want to be, because I didn't want to be the person doing the yelling either. I didn't want to be that person. And I realized that I was overgiving. And the only reason that I then felt put out, like it was my own fault, I was doing the overgiving. He wasn't asking me to overgive to him. So it was my own fault. It wasn't until I took responsibility. And then I started to see it everywhere. I started to see it in friends. I started to see it in business. And then I started putting boundaries in place to protect my own energy. I'm like, why am I doing all these? Like a friend would be sick and I would like cook for their whole family, but no one ever did anything back for me.
Right.
And I started
So
to
you
take
got
my
resentful. You start getting resentful.
exactly, but I
Yeah.
was giving because I wanted to receive back. So it wasn't coming from a golden place in my heart either. Like I was giving to receive. It wasn't good.
Right.
So I realized that what I wanted was I wanted to receive. So instead of giving it to other people, give it to myself. And when I started giving to myself, when I started treating myself like the queen that I know that I am, he started treating me like a queen. It wasn't until
Bing,
I
bing, 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 bing. I wish I had a sound. I wish I had a bell sound. I could bing, 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 bing. Like this is so key. It's like people don't want to turn the spotlight on themselves. They want to fix the person to give them what they're not. Like it's like it's kind of like that self-abandonment concept that I don't think I've heard about till this year. It's like, what do you mean I'm abandoning myself? What does that mean? And it kind of goes back to, well, when you're overstressed and you're overworked and you're burning the candle at both ends and you have to eat because your body's telling you you're hungry and you're going to power through that next hour of your job instead of eating, or you're thirsty and you're not going to drink anything because you're on the phone with the client. It's like that's abandoning yourself at such a basic level, that if you're doing that at a basic level with like sleeping, eating, and going to the bathroom, like how many times you'd be like, oh, I don't need to do that. I'll just hold it for a couple hours. You know what I mean? Not to be gross, but it's like, okay, I have to work. I have to make money or whatever it is. I'm just going to neglect those needs. And on a bigger level, on a deeper level, it's kind of like when you're overgiving, when you're overgiving because you're getting drained, you're feeling pulled at, and you're like, please, will somebody just come and give back? And then that resentment and that anger comes in, and you're like, all right, now I'm not going to give anything. Like now I'm going to go from, generous to like evil, you know what I mean? Like because it is frustrating because you're hoping for that reciprocal connection, that reciprocal relationship. And a lot of therapists and a lot of coaches and a lot of people out there will be like, okay, only invest in people the amount they invest in you, right? So it's kind of, you take that concept, you're like, I'm given and they're just taken. So there's no investment, so I should just leave. It's kind of like what you come down to.
Mm. And you, I mean, I've learned to only give from a place where I truly want to give. Like before I do anything these days, I always run it through my gate system, right? And I make sure that I'm giving from a place of absolutely wanting to give and not from any other place. And then it feels good, and then it expands my energy.
Where did you find out about turning the spotlight on you? Is this an intuitive thing that kind of came to you, or did somebody kind of shift your thinking and say, you don't need it from him, you need it from yourself?
No, it was just a slow realization, really. I don't really know where it came from, so I guess it had to be intuitive. But I mean, it wasn't like I would normally get my intuitive hits, like where I would meditate or go and ask my soul team or whatever for the next step. It just suddenly dawned on me. It didn't really come in like I normally get my intuitive hits. It really just dawned on me that, hey, like your actions are creating your reality. I suppose it was a shift in beliefs, really.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So before you did this shift, how was he treating you in your marriage?
I have so closed off. Like one of my naturopath was also a life coach, and we went there together one day to for health reasons. And she said to me afterwards, she said, "I've never seen someone so closed off from their partner in their life." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, so
thanks."
you're feeling like, wow, he doesn't want to give me attention, affection, doesn't desire me,
He
all
wouldn't even
those
look me in the
things.
eye. He wouldn't even look at me.
So he had a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
had needs that probably were being unmet too.
Yep.
And you guys probably were at that point where you couldn't even discuss anything anymore. So like what happened after your therapist said, hey, you should just go, and he storms out, and like
Oh,
was
that,
that
that that was years before. That was years and years and years before. That was when we'd only been married for, I don't know, like 4 years or something.
And I think when you talk about turning the needs on yourself, when you first start doing that, and I know when I first started doing that, like it just with myself personally, that guilt arises, that awful feeling of like, oh my God, I'm not doing stuff for them. I said no, I can't do it. There's that guilt, and that almost becomes so powerful and so strong that you almost have to do it for some do what you need to do and overgive to like stop the feeling of guilt and anxiety. You know what I mean? It's a powerful emotion that comes up when you first start to shift that. Did that happen for you?
Yeah, it really wasn't easy. It truly was not easy. It was entirely uncomfortable. Like I'm such an overgiver. Like it's still my base tendency, right? But I just had to start with small things. Like I don't know, like the kitchen bench would be messy, and I'd say, "Oh, hey, I see that you didn't have time to clean up the kitchen bench. Listen, I don't have time to do that for you today. I'd love to, but I just don't have time. So by the time I come back from my clients, hopefully that's done." So I wouldn't say, "Oh my God, you've left the kitchen in a whole mess again," which I wanted to say. Like, I mean, he left the kitchen in a mess. I wanted to say it, but I knew that, I'd learned that saying that wasn't going to get me what I wanted. So instead of attacking, if you're just pointing out what you're seeing and placing boundaries around it. So I don't have time to clean that for you right now. And I might have said, I'd like to, and that might not be entirely true, but you know what I mean? It softens the blow, and it takes the heat out of it, because then I'm not yelling about anything. I'm not making anyone wrong. I'm just making an observation.
So did he expect you to do all the cleaning, or you expected him to do the cleaning in that instance?
Oh no, it would always be me doing the cleaning. Like
Oh,
I wouldn't say that anyone ever expects anyone to do these things for them. It's just they're not paying attention to it. Like they just think there's a cleaning fairy, right? Like it just doesn't occur to them that
yeah.
someone's got to clean it.
So I remember when we talked before we did our pre-call, you told me about just a couple things that you did, couple practical shifts that you made that completely shifted your marriage, and a couple tips that maybe our listeners could kind of say, "Hey, I could try this at a small level." Because we tell people to just start putting up boundaries, and it's almost like too much to go from just overgiving to complete change. And I know that we have to take the smaller steps, but what could be some like small wins that people can experiment with and try if they're in a relationship like this when they're not getting their needs met,
Yeah.
to try to shift that balance?
I wrote down 4 things that you could do, but they're quite big and broad. And someone said in here, yes, how do you do that? So I kind of just want to say the first thing that you've got to do to fix anything is fix the energy leaks. When we're overgiving, we're giving out too much energy, and we don't have enough energy within us to heal ourselves. And the healing starts with us. So fix the energy leaks. Stop saying yes to everything. Like instant answer should be no. I'm sorry, I don't have to do that right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. Like, don't even say you'd like to. Just say sorry, no. And then if you change your mind later and you decide you want to do it, you can do that. But it's very hard to go from a yes to a no. It's pretty easy to go from a no to a yes. So just start saying no to things so that you
Yeah.
have enough energy.
And then that guilt comes up. So how do you deal with that?
You just have to sit with it. You just got to lump it. You just got to
Yeah.
be like, oh my God, I'm such a bad bitch. But you just got to sit there and accept it, and then take that energy and do something nice for yourself. And when you have those big feelings of guilt come up, move them through your body. Like we're feeling the feelings because they're a message for us. And I think we try and turn our feelings off because they're painful. But a
Mhm.
feeling is something you feel in your body. It's different to an emotion, right? Love is an emotion. Whereas well, let's say guilt is an emotion, but when you feel guilt, you'll feel it somewhere in your body. Like for me, I feel it tight around my heart. So then if I get up and I do some nice, movements and dancing, or I get on my yoga swing or whatever, I can move that feeling through my body. So I no longer feel it in my heart. And then I'm able to carry on with what I need to do. So that
Mhm.
might just be like 30 seconds doing flips in my yoga swing.
Right. So when we go to your marriage, like what did you actually want from like specifically from your husband that he wasn't giving you? Like what specifically were you
I
looking for?
wanted to be adored. I wanted to be
Mhm.
someone's favorite person, is what I
Aw.
wanted. Yeah, I know. And
And
so
so
I made myself my own favorite person. I started noticing what I loved about myself, because truly I didn't really love myself that much. Everyone, like even when I was a kid, I was away with the fairies. Someone said in here before, they said something about, they're a dreamer. Same with me. Like everyone always said that I was a dreamer, and my parents always had expectations around me. So I didn't really have much love for myself. So I wanted to be adored by someone else to get that, to have the mirror held up to me that I'm amazing, and I wasn't getting it from myself or from anyone else. So I just felt shit all the time. So I started to give to myself. I'd book a massage, or I'd put rose petals in my bath, or I'd be like, I literally wrote a list, like, what would I adore for Colin to do for me? And I wrote out all these things, and I just started doing them for myself. Like
Wow.
it would be so amazing if someone made me a green smoothie so I could get up and do my 15-hour day that I had to do, like if they thought that, wow, she might be hungry and she might need something to drink halfway through the day. And so I was like, so I'd get up 10 minutes earlier and I'd make myself the green smoothie, and I'd write myself a love note, and I'd put it on a beautiful little tray. Like it seemed a little bit crazy, but it just felt right to do. And it's what works.
Did he start doing that stuff?
He started doing it for me. When I started doing it for myself, and had watched how happy it was making me, because men really want to make you happy. Like men really want to make us happy. Men adore us, and we adore men. Like we get so caught up and we don't love each other. We do. Like we're all beautiful human beings that want to make other people feel amazing. We just get caught in the trap, So when he started seeing how much it was lighting me up, he started doing little things. And even like if he put his cup in the dishwasher, I'd be like, oh, thank you so much for putting your cup in the dishwasher. It just makes me feel so sparkly.
What?
Like, all right, you crazy cow. Shush.
So did the wall, like his wall started to drop down, the wall that he had? And did you see a whole new man kind of emerge?
Oh, it was very slow. I'm not going to tell you it was fast and it was overnight, because it wasn't. It was hard. It was like pulling teeth. And I was like, I don't even know if this is going to work, but this is what I'm going to do, because it's either going to work or I'm going to leave, right? Like I was already ready to leave anyway. And so then when I put these boundaries in place, and then eventually I got brave, like you have to have the brave conversations. And I was like, hey, listen, I want to talk to you for 5 minutes. And he used to roll his eyes and go, no, what's it about? And right. Because they're like so used to us having conversations that go round and round and round. And so in the end, I was like, I'm just not available for it. So I said, hey, listen, I'm not available for you rolling your eyes at me. If you don't have 5 minutes to talk about our marriage, then we pretty much don't have one. And he's like, oh. Right? Because it's the truth. If you don't have 5 minutes to talk to me about our relationship, is there one?
No, not really.
So I took the 5 minutes. I planned out what I wanted to say. Like I literally planned out what I wanted to say. And I took my knowledge of what I know about communication and business. And like we have 50 bytes of information. If I use big words and I point out things and I trigger off all your emotions, you're not going to hear what I've got to say.
Right.
So instead of triggering him, I planned what I wanted to say. And I said, I feel like I'm not loved. I don't love myself, and I don't feel loved by you. And it's probably not even your fault, but I would love it if you could just show me some of the things that you love about me. I didn't tell him how to do it. I didn't say that.
There you go. There you go. Because us women, we love to tell them how to do it.
Exactly.
Because we don't think they know how, honestly. But then when they feel pressured to do it, then it's almost like they rebel like little boys and don't want to do it. So we don't think they know how to do it.
Same with us. Like if my husband had come and said to me, right, from now on, I want you to put dinner on the table at 5 o'clock every day. And
yeah.
No, so nobody likes to be told what to do.
That's right. That's right. But then men also, they say they don't like to be told what to do, but then they're like, just tell me what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, do you want to be told what to do, or do you not want to be told what to do? Like, which one is it? It's like,
it's so funny.
Well, I don't know what to do, but don't tell me what to do. So it's like, okay, can you figure it out? I don't know. Then we just don't think that they can.
You got to make them think it's their idea.
Yeah. And you know what? This is not only for, spouses or romantic relationships. I have found in my own transformational journey that when I started to put those boundaries up, and sometimes like at first for me, I couldn't just say no. It just couldn't go from yes to no. It felt like too much of a big step for me. So I had to be like, it's probably not a good day. I'm tired. I'll have to do that for you another time. Like I kind of had to like, but especially in my immediate family, it did not go over well when I wasn't giving to people. And like, I'm not even talking about my partner at this point. I'm talking about just my immediate family. When you change that dynamic, people don't handle it well right away. They don't. So it's like, yeah, you could start saying, I'm going to start saying no. But then it's like, there is that period of time where people do kind of like, there's a lot of pushback. So like it could set people back, I think, when you first start doing it.
It does. Like, you've really got to believe that you're on the right path, because when you set boundaries, people dislike it a lot. Every time I up level, I set new and stronger boundaries, and people are like, you're such a bitch. I'm like, no, I'm just taking care of myself.
Yeah, but then the right people respect those boundaries, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But even the right people, like, everyone thinks that one boundary is okay, but another one's not, like, because we all have our own personal skews on things.
Mhm.
So that people expect other people to overgive. They really do. But you know, the saying, put your own oxygen mask on first. I hate it because it's so overused, but it's so true. Like, you're of no service to anyone if you're not feeling amazing yourself.
So what's your marriage like now?
It's great. I mean, it's not great every day.
Yeah.
But
But like,
yeah.
what's the dynamic? I mean, are you still the main breadwinner? Are you still the one making it? And how is he showing you that he adores you? Like, what does he do now that he didn't do before?
He painted my toenails last night.
What?
Yeah.
He painted your toenails?
Painted my
Like,
toenails.
what color?
Pink. Shall I show you? No.
Sure. And he enjoyed. Did you have to?
Beautiful. I can't get my foot up.
Oh my God! So he did that.
Yeah.
Did he just say, "Hey, I want to paint your toenails tonight," or did you ask?
No, I was painting them, and I was like, "Oh, I can't see properly. Can you paint my toenails?" He's like, "I can't paint toenails," and I'm like, "Listen, darling, we're just at an age now where you have to pluck my chin and paint my toenails because I can't see anymore." And he's like, "All right." Like, if you just make it funny, and if I'm being vulnerable so that he wants to take care of me.
And how does that look? Because vulnerability is very scary for women in business. Very scary, because you're like, you are taking on a male energy when you are the head of a business. You just are. You know, you're not like, you're taking on action oriented role and a doer. You're in that action oriented energy. So to come home and go back into that feminine energy is a little bit difficult. It's kind of the opposite of what you do at your job.
Except I'd have to say that in business, I use both my masculine and my feminine. And like, men have masculine and feminine as well. Like, the masculine structures provide the support, and then I flow in my feminine in my business, and I do the same in my relationship. So I set the masculine things. I'm like, no, this is how much money we got this month. So no, you can't have the elliptical trainer that you wanted, right? It's the structure, it's the finances. And then in the next breath, they'll be like, oh my God, let's go for a weekend away. This would be so fun. Or like the other day, I said, oh my God, I just got these 2 tutus. Which one do you want to wear? And he's like, I'm not wearing a fucking tutu, Michelle. I was like, the black one or the white one, because we're going to do some ballet up and down the hall. So I just, like, when I'm fun, he wants to be fun with me. Like, I just refuse to let it be staid and boring. Like, I am fun and frivolous, and so he does it to please me.
So if he's not being fun, or if he's in a mood, you just probably go and have fun yourself, right?
Totally. Like the other day, obviously talking about something, and I was just like, oh, sorry, I'm just so not available for this conversation. I just walked off and did something else.
And you see he's like nicer to you when you're like kind of in your power in that sense?
Yeah. Well, and when I'm in my feminine, his masculine wants to take care of me and make me happy. And when I'm in my masculine, then my masculine wants to take care of him, So, yeah. It's always very fluid.
So did he ever open up to you about kind of what he was liking in the changes that you were making? Or did he ever say, hey, I really like this?
He's English and over 50. No.
Okay. He's not going to change. So that's wonderful. I mean, did he know you were about to leave, or was he not unaware of that?
No, he was aware.
Okay. So he's secure now that you're not going anywhere. Well, that's great. Well, I want to tell you guys how to get in touch with Michelle, because she's offering a lot of ways that you could kind of empower your life, and I want to get to that. So, Michelle, you wrote a book. You're an author. Tell us a little bit about your book and about your website and how people can connect with you.
So I wrote a book called, my second book is called Woo Woo for Women in Business, and it's all about meshing that feminine with the masculine. So you do need both in your business, right? Like we're all highly intuitive. It's just some of us forget it or squash it down, but we're all born intuitive. So it's about taking that intuitive part of you and creating the structures around it so that your intuition can grow your business. So it's about having both the masculine and the feminine. It's really about meshing the two together.
So people that don't own a business, can they still benefit from this book?
Yeah, totally. And even my first book, which is called Woman Up, that's all about finding your joy as a woman, because we're so held away from joy, right? Like we don't expect joy in our lives. We think that, oh, well, you have to grow up sometime. Well, who said that being an adult has to be boring?
Yeah, why? That's, I had that question the other day. I was like, you know what? We're so big on kids' birthdays, right? Making them feel special, celebrating their birthdays, doing Christmas. I'm like, why can't adults still enjoy celebrating their birthdays? Why can't we still make a big deal? Like as a kid, you're made a big deal of, and then at some point in life, you're just like, oh, it's no big deal. Like it is a big deal. Why can't you celebrate yourself?
Exactly.
I don't know. So also, I'm excited about this. Next Friday, you're doing a free webinar, Next Level Income. Can you tell us a little bit about that for people who would like to get in on that free course that you're doing?
Yeah, totally. So next level income, it gets to be easy, and it's kind of like a relationship. Like once you understand how to burst through to the next level and make your relationship even juicier, it's all like, oh, of course. Same with next income level, right? Like we're at a certain income level and we can't figure out how to get past it, and there's just a few tips and tricks really that you need in order to burst through it. And once you're on the other side, you'll be like, oh, of course, like it got to be easy.
So like, what do you do every day? Like what kind of clients do you serve? Like what do you do, and how do you help people?
So most of the people work with me through group business coaching. So I have a couple of groups going. I've got the Business Acceleration Club and the Success Academy, and something called the Magical Millionaire Membership. And it kind of works at different points on the success triangle. So Magical Millionaire Membership is all around energetics and diving into like galactic codes and to unlock like money blockages. It's pretty exciting stuff. Business Acceleration Club is all about the masculine type structures, like actually setting up the systems that set you free, building clubs, building courses, building a business that allows you to only work a couple of days a week while making twice as much income, because I'm here for the playing, I'm not here for the working.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Success Academy, is all about taking aligned action. So once you have the structures sorted, then you've got to find your brave and take the next level actions, because most of us take the wrong actions. We take all the actions, all the busy actions, all the actions that we see other people taking, but not the actions that will actually move our own businesses forward. So, yeah.
So much to actually think about. There's so much going on there. And I'd like to open up the floor to, I know you guys have been quiet tonight, which means you're listening. So we have a lot of interactivity usually with people here. And I bet you that you've been holding their attention pretty well. So if you have a question for me, for Michelle, that you want to ask about your situation, and you don't have to be a business owner to ask the question. You can ask about your love life. Sorry, I just put up the wrong banner. I'm trying to do too many things here. Please submit your question in the comments and ask away. Are you having a block somewhere in your life? Are you feeling like you just can't get to that next level in love, in romance, in your career? What are you having trouble with? Because right now, you have Michelle right here to answer it. And if you don't get her right now, it's going to be a little tougher to get in touch with her to get that answer. So please feel free to ask your question. I know some of you might be shy, thinking your question might be stupid or whatever. No question is dumb. So feel free to ask away. And
definitely no question is dumb. Like sometimes I'll be business coaching and then my clients will start talking about their relationship and I'm like, oh no, but if you just say it this way, they'll understand. So if you have something that you're not sure how to communicate, then ask me and I'll try and put it in a way for you that might work.
Every time I'm doing, because I do business consulting too and executive coaching. And every time there's always a love issue that once we deal with the business, we have to deal with that. Like it always comes up. right? It always comes up. Or I do a mediumship session. Can I ask about my love life? So here, Christine does have a question. Christine's asking me, I'm lost finding true love. So do you want her to submit any follow-up details or information on that?
So, Christine, do you mean that you're finding people, but they're not quite meeting what you need in yourself? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm curious as to what Christine means by she's lost and finding true love. Like, are you in a relationship? Have you experienced the same type of pattern? Let's see what she says here. I'm a business.
Oh, I totally get it.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Christine, I understand that too.
Yeah.
Yes. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, what I think about that is that oftentimes us businesswomen, and especially like when we're strong, people lean on us, right? So we learn to become stronger and stronger. Exactly, I get the pattern, Christine. I totally get it. And then, but what it's important to do is to also show that we have the other side. Like some women won't let men open doors for them anymore, right? Because like we can do it for ourselves. But men want to do things for us. So I'm not saying be weak, like be the person that you are, and it's okay to be strong. And what I've found is that when I'm okay with my strength, that other people are okay with it. It's almost like when you give them nothing to bounce off, it's like they don't come for you anymore. It's like when you own all your craziness, like all the haters on the internet stop because you just own it. So what would be the point in saying anything to you? It's kind of the same in relationships. When you own your strength and you can see that as a beautiful shining light, other men will respond to you. And there are men out there that really value strong women. And so when you have one that wants to be sexist or, doesn't like your strength, then you like don't even start with that, right? Like you might fix it if you were in a relationship with them already, but you wouldn't bother even starting with it because if they don't value you at the beginning, they're not going to value you at the end. Does that answer your question, Christine?
I have to jump in just a second here, Michelle.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed over the years in my own love experiences is that the men would initially be like, "Oh, I love your energy. I love how strong you are. I love, how brave you are and courageous." And then it's like over time they wanted to like break you down. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you have to be kind of aware that there might be takers who come and try to like be attracted to your light, but still can't really handle it once the relationship kind of continues. Have you had that happen to you before, Michelle?
Sorry, say that again. I was reading the comments. I'm very sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm saying that sometimes there are for business women, the men that are like, oh my God, they're attracted to the strength, they're attracted to the amazing energy, but then getting into the relationship start to try to control the energy and try to manipulate. So how do you know?
Even for me as well, it definitely happens. Like they're all drawn to our fun and our strength, and then they marry us, and they almost want us to not be so much fun and be a sensible mother or wife or whatever. But being true to yourself and being like reminding them, just be like, "Do you remember when you loved how silly I was?" Like just remind them and just be unavailable for it. Be like, "Yep, but I'm fun, and I like that I'm fun." So
yeah, and I mean. I think, especially the highly sensitive, intuitive people that are business owners, I think we have to look out for people that try to take from us too, that say they're attracted to the light because they want to take from the light rather than somebody who's really attracted to you and that can kind of be a foundational person for you. I think you do have to kind of watch out for that, two-faced type of energy. Because people sometimes there are men that come along that do they want to take that light and use it for themselves and kind of not,
Actually, do you know what's coming in for me, for Christine?
Yeah.
When we're a very strong woman, we try to sometimes find a very strong man because we think that they will. Yeah, exactly. I get told I'm intimidating all the time, and I just own it. I'm like, oh yeah, if you're intimidated by me, what does that mean about you? So I'm just like, you can call me what you like because this is who I am and I own it. But I remember used to trying to find men that would match my energy, but oftentimes it's fake news. The men that are very strong and raw are like really tiny little boys on the inside. So of course they're finding you intimidating, but they're putting this front on the outside because they're so soft on the inside. So often going towards the men that appear softer, they're actually stronger. So maybe try it out.
The Zeta male. You might want to try the Zeta male, not the Alpha or the Beta. Zeta is like a mix of the two, that they could like be a second in command. They could be the support system, but also tell you off when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
So Paula, as much as I'd like to be in a relationship, the idea of dating to weave through the messed up ones is just too exhausting to even try. Oh, so she's kind of at a place where she's a little tired. What would you say to that?
And so honestly, Paula, energy leaks. Give to yourself. Like if you feel exhausted about what's out there, don't go out there when you feel exhausted, because you're gonna, like, when your energy is a bit you're gonna attract other people that are so I'm the same. Like, I wouldn't go out there with that energy either. I'd start giving to myself. Like, I'd really start loving myself, and when I'm really loving myself, I'm gonna find someone who will really love me. It really is all about the energy. And I mean, look at your beautiful dog that you've got there. Be in a relationship
so
with that
cute.
beautiful puppy.
And she talks about dating, weave through the messed up ones. And what I have to say about that is, I know you're intuitive, Paula, because you're in our manifesting course. I know you, and I think your intuition is very strong. And I think that you maybe waste too much time trying to weave through, where I think within the first 5-10 seconds, you probably know what you feel. And it should probably be like a no at that point. You know what I mean? I think maybe you give people too much time. And I know I've done that, and it's not a judgment, but I think you're talking about putting all this time into weaving through the messed up ones, where I feel that you probably have enough life experience and love experience where you kind of know they're messed up from day one. And maybe the issue is that you don't trust yourself. I think that's the issue, is self-trust.
And I think we need to ask stronger dating questions, like, what's the foundational belief that drives your life? Find out right from the beginning. Imagine starting a relationship like that. They'd be like,
okay. That's good. Let's see what Tim has to say. One of our men. That's it. You get what you put out in your energy. My energy gets drained, but I bounce back. So even men that appear to be strong, their energy gets drained too. They need nurturing. They need comfort too.
Well, it's like I really do feel for men, right? Like, men and women, we're both cast in these roles that we don't want to be in. Like, we just need to stop it, Like, we both have both sides of us. So thank you for speaking up, Tim. It's really nice to hear from a man.
Yes, Tim, it's very nice to hear from you. Wonderful. Let's bring it all together, because we're actually coming to the end of the time in just a few minutes. So guys, get your comments in if you have a question for Michelle, and we'll go back to letting you know where you can actually connect with Michelle. Let me bring that up. Michelle's book, empowermentempires.com. Just go to her website. You get on the classes, you get on the webinar there, right, too, as well. Get on the webinar. And I did put this link in the chat as well, so you can scroll up. This link, you can, if you don't remember it, you can go into the chat. And I'm sure myself and Michelle, after we are done going live, we can put, we'll put the links in the chat as well, and in the description of the videos as well. So awesome. Well, I am just so excited because you have your free webinar next Friday, Next Level Income. And I would love to come to that, but I have the show next Friday. So hopefully there'll be a replay.
Yeah. It will be recorded. So if you jump onto my mailing list, I'll be emailing it out to my mailing list.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about you, or about anything else you would like to summarize before we go?
Just a wish for them. Like, you are beautiful, amazing people. Like, own that. Like, just love yourself, and your whole life gets to be amazing.
Yeah, like, do stuff for yourself. Like, oh wait, what is Christine saying? Oh, we missed that comment, Christine. It's just blank. So if you wanted to say something, we have about a minute left. Feel free to pull it up. Thank you guys for coming on to the lounge this Friday evening. We had such a great time, and we'll be bringing you more entertainment as we go along. And Michelle is, like I said, one of my favorite guests so far, this season 2.0 of the lounge. Thank you so much for coming, Michelle. And thank you, Christina, saying thank you. Paula saying thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right, guys, we will see you very soon next Friday. So have a great night, guys. Bye-bye. Have a good night tonight.